Oh, but I got to add someone in. I saw someone just join. There we go. Okay. This thing. Okay, does it look nice and fancy? Is it showing the whole screen? Okay, so we're going to talk growing and, as they say, converting on Instagram, which, you know, is taking the stuff you're already doing and managing to convert it into making you money. Oh, how do I go next? Okay, so first of all, you can start by telling me in the chat box, why do you want to sell? Why do you want to make money on Instagram? What, you know, what's your motivation there? Now I need to figure out where the chat box went. This is the problem with this thing when I screen shared and then things disappear that I didn't know were there. Okay. I want to sell on Instagram because it gives me more reach and allows our family to be full-time together and traveling. I find it easier to use on Facebook. It's a good platform to make strong connections. I have more of a following on Instagram versus Facebook or YouTube. Instagram is accessible. It's easy to share. I have a successful online shop and would like to take advantage of social media. Trying to bring my husband home like you. So many good things. So many good things. These are all good reasons for sure. And then think about, answer, or just, you know, say to yourself, whatever. Are you wanting to do this as an influencer, or are you wanting to sell products? Like, what's your goal there? Because different strokes for different folks. Yeah, influencer, both. Well, my husband can't work, so I want to do it. I have digital products, but I also want to connect to a large community. I have products. Can it be both? Yes, it can be both. Of course, it can be both. You can do all things, Dory. So I have less experience with like physical products, obviously, but I do have some experience with physical products. If you've been around here long enough, you know that. So how did I get started on Instagram? So if we back it up a little farther, I started my blog in 2010. I was doing college courses and I was doing productive procrastination. So I started a blog because I didn't feel like doing my homework. I did college while Mac napped. I did early childhood education via long distance education. So I started that and that was fun. Didn't really do much. And I took really bad photos, really bad photos. But it was a creative outlet and I wasn't really on social media. I kind of had Facebook. I didn't have Instagram. When I was pregnant with Hamish, I needed a new phone because my flip phone was dying. So I got my first iPhone. So that was, he's 9. Yeah, he's 9. 9 years ago, I got my first iPhone. And I joined Instagram because that was so cool and so fun. And Instagram was just a personal thing. It was nothing to do with the blog. I tootled about when Freya was a baby, was trying to make Instagram and the blog pay money by doing like sponsored blog posts and that sort of thing, and never really got anywhere with that. It did not do much for me. So when Rowan was a baby, I seem to do things when I have a baby or I'm pregnant. And those are like milestones that I can then like keep track of. When Rowan was a baby, I was like, I am pouring so much time into this app and into this blog, like for the sake of a creative outlet, but like I'm putting so much time and this needs to make some money. We got to figure out how to make some money here. So that's when I started YouTube. YouTube, debatable on how much money it makes me, not a lot, but it's growing. So that's where the whole drive started. Come on, next slide, next slide. When did I start treating it like a business? When Rowan was a baby. So really leading up to there was like using it for fun. And that was kind of the turning point where I was like, if I'm using this app, I'm using this for a purpose, for sure. So I did start by selling some small things. Does anybody remember when I sold sourdough starter or tallow balm or lip chap? I sold lip chap too, made with tallow. I can't even remember. That was when before I had Rowan, actually. So I did toodle about with selling some things. And that was very successful. I sold out of whatever I was making, but shipping to the States was ridiculous. And sometimes things would work out just fine shipping, and sometimes I would get fleeced on shipping. Sometimes things would all get sent back to me because I didn't do something right. And shipping to the States was not fun. So I quickly realized that like a product-based business like that was not going to work for me. Yeah, Dory says, kind of like shipping to Canada. Yeah, Dory sent me an apron and then it got sent back for no apparent reason. And now she sent it again, and apparently it's in Canada now. So we'll see how long it takes to get to me. She sent it hopefully to make it by Christmas. So there's still a Christmas coming this year. So we got time, Dory. So that was how I got started making money on Instagram, and, you know, kind of whet my appetite for like, we could do this. We could make some money on this. So the other thing I started doing was affiliates, because I had not that many affiliates. Not that many followers. So like I hit 10,000 followers when Rowan was 1, roughly. So I haven't been there for a long time, and I was making money before then. And you guys who are wanting to do this now, you all have the link function now. I had to work hard to get that swipe up. You guys have it now. So you got more power than you think you do. So affiliates are a really lovely way where, without having to create a product yourself, you can make a little bit of money on the side. Different things are going to make different percentages. So like, for example, with my ebook, the percentage was 30% that you earned. For a product like Toups & Co. makeup, it's like 10 to 15%. Because their costs are so much higher in a physical product, they can't give away a large affiliate percentage. Callie, so there's maybe I need to update the app, still don't have the link function. It might be you need like a creator account. I don't know if it depends on what type of account you have to get the link function. So I've done affiliates that give up to 50%. Like if it's a digital course, they will often give a large percentage away because it's really motivating to the person promoting it when it's a 50% affiliate. So sometimes you need to reach out to the person. Sometimes you just need to look around on their website and you'll find it. But especially if they're companies that you use regularly, you might as well ask, like, do you have an affiliate program? The worst they can say is no. How big was your following before someone thought it was worth it to have you be an influencer for their product? So being a paid influencer is mostly very annoying if you're trying to rely on large companies. They either will be like, we will offer you a free can of soup in exchange. That was one I saw recently. It was a carton of broth was the payment for like a big campaign. And they're just trying to take advantage of you in that situation. So I feel like dealing with big companies when it comes to like paid influencer things are a hard thing to chase, and affiliates, especially digital things, are much more approachable. So, growth. How do you grow your account? You have an account. You want it to be a bigger account. You want to reach more people. Don't take part in follow loops. Don't pay for followers. Don't take part in giveaways that you have to follow 10 different people that are all random. It needs to be organic for it to be sustainable. The thing I have always stood by is you want to share things that people want to re-share. I think the next slide. There we go. So what is things that people want to share? You need to bring value to them emotionally, physically, mentally. So it could be something educational that people are like, what? I had no idea. Oh, I gotta share that to stories. Oh, I gotta share that to friends. Oh, I gotta save that. Educational. It could be a soapbox where you have something that you're so passionate about and you go on your big long ramble about it and people are moved by this. Soapboxes can be polarizing because there's people who are like, huh, what? Especially if you try to touch anything to do with like politics and like COVID and vaccines and such. That you have to be a very emotionally strong person to touch that, whether you are pro or anti. Yeah, I don't recommend touching those things. But like a soapbox for me, like I did one for that, like it's okay to feed your cow grain. It doesn't negate the benefit of raw milk if your cow eats grain. And that's something that people feel strongly about, right? Like, as silly as it sounds, within that niche, people feel strongly about that. And it can be encouragement. Encouragement is another thing that people love to reshare. If you post an encouraging post on something that's near and dear to your heart, whether it's something you've recently gone through or you're going through or whatever, encouragement is something else that people want to reshare and then promotes organic growth. You need to post more and stop worrying about it being perfect. Some of you probably got an email in your inbox from me because it didn't have the link, but that was the whole point of me sending the email. I forgot the link. I did that like an hour ago. I was on the phone with my mom and I was like, and the email came to me too because I was on that list and I was like, Mom, I forgot to add the link and that was why I sent the email. So then we were laughing about that. And then I just sent another email being like, hey, I'm human. I sent an email without the thing I meant to send in an email. So we're talking stories and posts. So aim to be posting something in your feed once a day, at least. Aim to be posting in your stories every day. It could just be like a few things, but when there's gaps without you posting something in your story, the IG algorithms, like, we're like, no, they don't. If you're posting every day and then you like take off a day for the weekend or 2 days, that's fine. It's fine. So something like Planoly, you doesn't get good, like if it posts automatically from a scheduling service to social media, it really tanks your views. It's really not recommended to use a scheduling service to post to social media unless it's something like Facebook has its own scheduling service and you're using Facebook's whatever. So yeah, maybe you like bulk do posts like and then manually post from Planoly or whatever. But like scheduling services like that, don't, whatever. Can't you schedule from within Instagram and Facebook now? I have no idea. I don't plan ahead like that. Like, we're just happy I took meat out for dinner, right? Like, so the posts for your stories. So you're like, yeah, I need to post more, but like, how do I post more? We're going to talk about reels later, but when it comes to posting in your feed, I will be like, okay, I haven't posted anything today, or like I'm aiming to post a few times a day. So I'm like, I haven't posted since this morning and it's just about dinner time. I will just like go to the place where I do a post and then I like scroll through photos and I'll be like, hey, that's a nice picture of that bowl of yogurt with peaches. What can we say about yogurt with peaches? Okay, let's talk about yogurt and peaches, right? Like, and just find something that's inspiring to me. Or alternatively, like, okay, I want to post something like, I want to talk about not sleeping well when it's a full moon. And then I might go to, like, maybe I'll then just find a photo to go with it. Or then I might go into like my photo backup and be like, oh, there's a nice photo from a photo shoot I did. Yeah, I like that one. Like sometimes you have to just find a photo, just look back and find a photo that's like inspires you. And you're like, yeah, I can post from there. Good. Maybe I'm scrolling for something like, okay, there's a photo of Marius and I dancing in a field together. Let's post about marriage. Like, just sometimes you have to just do it. Just do it. Michelle, I get nervous about posting too much on Instagram. If I do one post, it doesn't get great reach. I don't want to kill it more by having a real flop after that or something. No, you just got to keep posting. Just keep posting. Like sometimes I'll literally post a couple things back to back because it's like I just am remembering. So I just do it. And maybe they don't all post amazingly, but if you get stuck analyzing numbers, you just get stuck. Like overthinking the numbers just really kills your brain power sometimes. And I'm a math person. I'm a numbers person. But you just, yeah. Don't get too stuck on the numbers. Okay, well, there you go. Post more. That was a little redundant. Show up in their feeds daily. Okay, this is another one. Lots of questions about this one. What about my family's privacy? Oh, that's too hot. Okay. Problem with the Yeti. Keeps things too hot too long. Pick a niche and stick there and repeatedly share those things. And what does that have to do with your family's privacy? So yes, this is going to be available for replay. I'm going to answer some more questions in the comments in the chat thing later. So pick a niche and stick there. We are going to talk about picking your niche later. An example for me on something I post repeatedly is milking the cow. Because people love it every time. It does not give away any personal information on my family. And I can share it every day. I could share it twice a day, and people still love seeing it. People love those touch points in their day. An example is like Madison Vining almost always shows her morning coffee with like some inspirational music and like, you know, one on like films that she's walking around with it. People love it every day. Pick some things you want to show and you're comfortable with showing and continue to show those. And yes, you're going to show other things, but you know you have those touch points of content that you're going to be sharing. And how does this relate to privacy? So I made a decision last fall that I wasn't going to share about my kids so much. You still see my kids all the time, but I don't share about them. Does this make sense? Some other good examples of people who share their kids without sharing about their kids would be like Ruth Ann Zim. She shares her kids and she shares her mothering experience all the time, but she doesn't share about her kids a lot. Does this make sense? You know, someone actually messaged me the other day and she was like, I hope you know she used a word. She used a good word. She said, I'm a grandma who doesn't see my grandkids very often. And to see your happy kids in stories almost every day brings me so much joy. It's a mission field to a certain extent. I can bring joy to people. I mostly stay away from politics because that does not bring joy. But I can repeatedly share these things without sharing more information about my family. Like I no longer really share about extended family. Like people will be like, why don't we see your sister? And I'm like, I just don't share that anymore. You know, like I just niche down. Like my mother-in-law is downstairs multiple days a week. You guys don't know about her. You don't see about her because that's not to do with my niche. Besides mentioning like, I have a nanny so I can have office hours because I work from home. Like that's about all you hear about my mother-in-law. Do you ever get tired of the repeat cycle of posts as new followers find you? No, because I feel like there's always like it's a new season. And so now milking looks different or whatever. Like there's always like just pick things that you enjoy in your daily routine. And those then are easier to share because you love them. I try so hard to not share politics. It just pops out. I get so dang passionate. If you want to share politics and if you like sharing politics and if you don't get emotionally torn apart by sharing politics, share politics. We do need accounts that share politics. I am not that person. I feel like I'm being torn limb from limb when people come after me for politics and in like the most ridiculous things. I don't have the emotional bandwidth. So if you do, we need people who will talk about politics. It's how we all learn more about politics. I'm just not that person. Do you have a fear of being too spammy by sharing too much or too often? That always keeps me from posting. I don't want to become spam type posting. I don't know, if they think you post so much, they can just unfollow you. If they don't like it, they can leave. That's kind of how I feel. You can only post 100 stories before they start deleting newer stories or older stories, sorry. So there is a cap. I have found it before. My husband and I don't put our son's face online, but I share about my experience and how I try to balance everything. Yes, for sure. You don't have to deny the existence of kids, but you can still respect their privacy and respect your family's privacy. Like coffee and washing eggs. Jason and Kay, I don't know which one who's watching here, but like coffee and washing eggs. Yeah, you can share washing eggs with like some audio over top and like pouring yourself a fresh cup of coffee in the morning. What mug did you choose? How are you having coffee this morning? Where are you having coffee this morning? You know, like there's always daily nuances to these things. Oh yeah, Naomi found the cap on Kate's account during a takeover. Yes, takeovers are when you usually find the cap. How do I stand apart? Here is talking about niche. So, red ocean, blue ocean. This is confusing. Red ocean is bloodthirsty. There's a lot of competition in a red ocean. Homesteading. Homesteading is a red ocean. There is a lot of people in the homesteading niche who are trying to be seen. Lots of competition. My niche is homesteading without the BS. That's my blue ocean where I stand out because it's my signature style and it's my niche. You don't see fancy painted barns. You don't see a well-decorated farmhouse. Like I literally was telling my sister this morning, I decorate based on there was already a nail there, so I hung a picture. Like that is how I decorate. When we have people over, like we easily fill up our living room, like just our own family. We pull out camping chairs and people sit on camping chairs in our living room. Like, come as you are. This is not fancy. So that homesteading without the BS, that's my niche. And that's what I share. So maybe your niche is off-grid homesteading in California. Maybe your niche, like that's pretty intense. But you know what I mean? Like you can find your niche and you need to hone in on that. Your niche doesn't mean you only share about washing eggs and coffee in the morning. Your niche just means, I don't know how to finish that one. Your niche is your niche or your niche, depending on where you live. Do you say niche or niche? Oh yes, I don't use filters. That's the other thing. Yeah, niche or niche. It's always going to be niche. Niche is like you got a gnat and it itches or something. I don't know. So I didn't look over, like I finished this slideshow thing yesterday, but I didn't look over it before I started. So everyone is kind of like a surprise to me. I'm like, oh, what's the next slide? How do I convert this? Okay. Meaning, how are we making money from this? You need to come up with an offer. What can you offer people? I'm getting really loud. My family downstairs is probably like, what is she doing? And since it's so disgusting, they're all inside. Marius is like, I'm not working outside today. Yeah, right. Don't have to. Okay, so you need to come up with an offer. Is it a physical offer? Is it a digital offer? Is it an ebook? Is it a course? Is it a YouTube channel? Is it working on doing better with affiliates or being in, this honestly, like this part of this is one that like is kind of harder to explain, and like every single area needs its whole thing. And some of these things I don't know much about. But the point being, you need to have something to offer someone. What are people always asking more of? What do they want more of from you? And sometimes, I read Dory's question and then I lost my train of thought. I got a little too excited and my like adrenaline's a little high. Feeling warm in here too. Okay. What do people want more of from you? Is this something you're willing to teach more on or sell or, you could, sometimes it means like for me to have more to offer on Instagram in a sellable offer, I had to pull back on what I gave away for free. But realistically, I was doing so much for free, I was going to burn myself out. So I had to hold back. And people sometimes are like, wait, but we didn't see the calf born. And I'm like, insiders saw it fresh. That's a perk. It's, if you're coming here for free content, I'm not promising you anything, I'm going to show you lots and it's going to be fun, but there's some things that I hold back for members. I got to go back on some questions here for a second. Can some niche be too hard to share, like sewing? Both Dory and Kim said they try that it's hard. So sewing's not a niche. Sewing's a red ocean. How can you make it a blue ocean? Could you be sewing with vintage styles? How to sew without running to the store every time? How to sew with what you have? How to make a properly fitted garment? How to sew gifts? How to, like, what's your niche? Sewing is a red ocean. What's your blue ocean? How much do you build following before working on the offer? So that's a hard one to say. Like, I don't know, because like I had a few thousand followers when I was selling out of Tallow Bomb and Sourdough Starter. So, those are, it's like in your offer, like there's I'm going to type it in the, just a second. Wait, why did this do this? Okay. Offer Cure by Funnel Gorgeous. It's a really awesome course. It's like $35 US. I did it in an afternoon. It's not meant to be done that fast. I just needed to get it done because I was launching a product. It helps you build offers and come up with ideas, and it helps you in your wording and your marketing, and it is worth far more. Like Boathouse Summers ebook, and then I took Offer Cure, and then I did Anywhere You Go. I made double on Anywhere You Go than I did Boathouse Summers. And the only thing I changed was my marketing with that $35, well, US $35 course. So it's worth it for sure. They have a whole pile of things and their site is really overwhelming because they have so many offers, but that Offer Cure is a nice little thing. Oh, I think we already covered that one. See what I mean by I didn't look this over beforehand? How do I promote myself? This is the hard one. It is hard to promote yourself when you don't 100% believe in what you're selling. You have to be confident in your offer. This is where imposter syndrome comes in. I'm pretty sure every single woman has imposter syndrome. The difference, this book called We Should All Be Millionaires. There's like some swearing in it and whatever. I listened to an audiobook with it in my earbuds, but it was a very interesting, motivating book. And how she described imposter syndrome, I can't remember her example, but I remembered what I likened it to. You're going fishing. Marius and I are going fishing. Marius is like, we better bring a second cooler because we are going to fill these coolers. And I'm like, I hope we get fish while we're fishing. And that's the difference. He's walking into it like, we're filling the coolers. You know, we might need to buy another cooler. And I'm like, I hope we get enough to eat for dinner. And that's like stereotypically, largely how the confidence in men versus women works on this sort of thing. And yes, there's always, you know, people who don't. And I maybe come across as like super confident. And I am super confident, sometimes to the side of cocky. But then I also, like the day before I launch everything, I was like, whew, I got like the nervous poops, like, whew, yeah, like everything. You're so nervous. Like, what if nobody buys it? What if nobody likes it? What if I made a huge mistake? That's like when I shared that screenshot of the texting with Helen, where I was like, oh my gosh, what if nobody likes it? What if nobody buys it? And I'm like, dude, like so many messages. And she's like, I knew when my phone was going off this morning that it had to be you because you're like nervous vomiting on me. I'm like, I am. Callie, I struggle with feeling like things are already inundated with similar accounts. For example, people beg me for more content on cheese making, but I know you already do cheese making. Oh, okay. Other people already do cheese making in their accounts. How do I feel like I'm not just adding to the noise, even if it's something I've been doing for a long time? Callie, you make totally different cheeses than I make. Like most of the cheeses you make, I'm like, I've never made that cheese. No idea. Never made it. Sounds yummy. You need to figure out what your niche could be within the cheese making world. Like I'm cheese making without the BS. Naomi is like technical. She's got the science. She's got like all that going for her. Robin also has like a science thing, but like a homesteading and science. Like we all have different teaching styles, and different people's teaching styles are going to resonate with different people. So Callie, I know you have some changes coming up, and maybe going forward, you need to think with where you're going to be in life, what could be your niche within the homesteading and cheese making world. I know you could find one, and you just have to think about like within cheese making, like cheese making even is kind of a niche within the homesteading world, but how can you teach it in a different way? So there you go. Oh, so now we're going to get on to tips on making reels. This is fun. So reels are hard. Reels, some of them do really well, some of them do really bad. Sometimes you have no idea what to do. Sometimes it's scary. It's hard. If you want to know on like exact technical things on how to make a reel, look it up on YouTube. Like how do you change the duration of a text? Look it up on YouTube. They'll show you. That's how I learned how to do it. But when it comes to like, how do I even know what to do? How do I find inspiration? I have 3 ways that I do this. Number 1 is to save audio. If there is a post, if there's a reel that people post that I like, I save the audio. To do that, you just like at the bottom, it will say the audio they use. Just click on it and then you can save it. Like it'll say save audio. So you click it. See, I might need to just show this. I don't know if you guys can see it on my phone. Okay, so if I want to make a reel, okay, so I want to save a, oh geez, it's attached to my headset and suddenly the music started playing over there and I was wondering. So down here, this is just in the like discover category because apparently they thought I would like this. Down here is where it shows the audio. So if I click the audio, it takes me to the audio's page. And then up here it says save audio. So I tap that to save the audio. And then when I want to use that audio, I go to make a reel. And when I choose the audio part, at the very top, it says saved. And if I click that, it shows me all the ones that I've saved. So that's how you can find the ones that you saved. And if you want to unsave one, which I do when I've already used it so that I don't like get confused, is you just swipe it to the side and then, oh, you can't even see it there. You swipe it to the side and you can unbookmark it. Anyways, so that's the first one, is you could save audio. So then you have ideas saved. So then sometimes like I'll have a saved audio in my head and I'll start like getting ideas, or maybe I'll be doing something and I'll be like that one that's like, go best friend, like that audio. That one was playing in my head all day. And then I saw Marius like take off the forks and get up the bucket on the tractor. And I was like, oh, look at you go. And then I was like, oh, go best friend. That's right. There we go. That's it. So like, I just sometimes will think on these ones and then like something will come up that I'll see it. The other thing is to reverse engineer. So you're doing something with tallow bomb was one that I reverse engineered. Okay, I want to show something to do with tallow bomb. What could I do with a reel with tallow bomb? So then I just went to that discover part where you like look at all the random people's thingamadoobers, reels, that's the word, which mine's in the bottom. I know it's different on different ones, but then you can just scroll through until there's an audio that hits you. This way, like, so then I got to one that was like, what audio did I use? Oh, I asked myself if I was crazy and we all said no. I think that's what it was. So then I was like, oh, this works. This is fun. And that was cute. And that one did really well. The other thing, if you're wanting to do a reel and you're like, how do I do this? I need to do a reel. And I should say, one of the reasons you want to do reels is you can reach a bigger audience than you're going to reach with your posts and your stories. Reels are how you find new customers, new followers. Stories and posts are how you keep your followers. Reels are important. There's some great reel accounts to follow. I think he's called Brock Levin Johnson, Pink Sparrow, Soul Fox Living. Those are three that show good ones. So the one thing that's good to do too is to follow trends, and you find what's trending by the audio, there's a little arrow pointing up. That means that that audio is trending. So that audio is going to get shown to more people. So then that is going to reach more people because they're showing that. So then if there's one that I'm like, oh, I really like this sound, like I like this audio, but how do I do it for my niche? Click on that audio and it will show you a bunch of people using that audio. Like it will show in all the squares. Click on the first one and just start watching them and scrolling them. And there's going to be different people in their different niches. You're going to see the person who's an exercise person and the mummy blogger and the food blogger. And you're going to see all these people until you can figure out how can you do this for your niche. And that's following the trends for it. Tips on story posts. So use captions. If you're talking on Instagram and you're not using captions, you are missing out on so many story views. When I started doing captions, my story views went up by 30%. And then I wouldn't do story views. Wouldn't do captions, views would go down. I do captions, views go up. People mostly don't want the sound on Instagram. And I'm the biggest hypocrite because I didn't do captions for so long, and yet I would not watch stories with sound on. Like if someone had stories without sound, I'm like, me, not watching you. Me, like if there was no captions, I wouldn't watch them. People are nursing babies. Accessibility wise, there's people who have hearing loss. They don't have the option to just turn on the sound. They can't take in your content unless you have captions. So there is the native caption feature on Instagram that you find by where you find like the question box and the poll and whatever. People do prefer if you type out like a blurb, because then if they have bad internet, they can just see it. And even if it won't load, you can tap it to the next one, read their blurb, tap it. Doing blurbs is way more time consuming, and I don't really do it. The captions are way easier and they're better than not doing anything at all. Your stories are 15 seconds long. You can't control the speed of them. You can hold your finger and so they pause. And Naomi says, I read crazy fast so I can like reading blurbs. Yeah, I'm the same way. I prefer to just read really fast. How much time do you spend on making reels, and how do you look at reels without getting sucked in and wasting time? I don't spend a lot of time making reels. Maybe if I spent time making reels more time, they would do better, but I feel like done is better than perfect. I really like the one I did from milking the other night. I did like some little videoing while milking, which didn't take too long. And then I maybe spent 15 minutes putting it together. So they're not, that one had like a lot of little clips and such. So sometimes they're short, sometimes they take a bit longer. You know, don't spend your whole day doing it, but it is good if you're trying to reach more people. So link things, especially as your following grows, people are going to ask like, oh, where'd you get that sweater? Oh, what sort of mixer is that? Oh, what's this? What's that? So people are already going to want these things. So you might as well link them. And now that pretty much everybody has a link feature, you might as well go for it. And yes, Brianna said my first reel took me forever to figure out. Yeah, your first reels take you a really long time to figure out, and then they get a lot faster. You will get faster, especially as you learn to like reverse engineer and do all that sort of stuff that I shared there. I feel like I need to convince Helen to watch this and take notes and write up a transcript so that we can just like have like a printout that we can read over of this too. I'm going to ask her to do that. I think she will. Well, and then also things like linking Amazon affiliates. Anybody can have an Amazon affiliate as far as I know. If you're in Canada, I recommend only linking to the US because very rarely do people actually want Canadian affiliates. So I don't share them very often. The Amazon affiliate thing, you just go to Amazon, you set up an account, and then you're signed in as Amazon affiliate. It doesn't really work on your phone very well unless there's a trick that I don't know. So I will just look up, like you just search something on Amazon like you're going to buy, and then there'll be like this grayish black stripe called a site stripe. It says site stripe along the top. And on the left-hand side, it will say text and image only or whatever. And you just click that and it gives you your affiliate link in a little short link, and you can copy and paste that. And then I have a note on my phone that's synced between my computer and my phone. And then I can just grab links, and I especially like things that people ask for regularly, then they're just there and waiting for me. Give people a way to interact without overloading your inbox. If you don't have, is the Amazon app, can you do it for affiliates too? Because I thought it wasn't for affiliates. Okay, so give people a way to interact without overloading your inbox. If you don't have a lot of followers, your inbox is not going to be overloaded. This morning, my friend spent an hour answering messages and got through about half of them. That's what my inbox looks like after not being checked since the night before. And a lot of them are just people reacting to things. Like, honestly, when people react with just an emoji, I wish that was illegal, because then I will sometimes be like, oh, they just gave an emoji reaction, and then I'll like miss that they actually asked a question above. So when I post something that people have a strong reaction or opinion to, if I give like a yes, no, like a little poll, or I give a question box or whatever, it number one gives someone a way to react to the story without coming into my inbox. And also then I can see like, oh, here's the percentage of people that feel this way or that, or like, here's everybody's responses to the question in the same place without having to like filter through my inbox. And also when they interact, Instagram likes that. Oh, people are interacting with their stories. Oh, so like you see a lot of polls and question boxes and stuff in my stories. And a lot of them I do nothing with. It's just for the sake of someone having something to react to, because people like to vote. People love democracy. Even if it's only about like which coffee cup to pick, right? They want to choose. Like they want to know. They want the option. And then Instagram likes that. So these sort of things, I don't tend to use the slider boxes just because I don't think of it. I like the polls. I don't know. I like coming up with funny options. And Instagram likes it. How to get a giveaway to perform well. Giveaways tend to tank. If you're getting like really good interaction on everything and then you post a giveaway, it's like, there goes your interaction. And I had someone who has like, I don't know, 90,000 followers. She's like, I don't tend to do giveaways because they just tank things. I just can't do it. And I was like, no, I'm going to write the copy for this, which is like the wording, whatever. And she was like, it did so well. You're so good at this. You should teach people how to do this. The number one thing is you want the content to be evergreen, which means it is always interesting. If you removed the giveaway, it's still a valid post. The point of the post is not just the giveaway. There's something interesting and there's a post and there's a giveaway. Ask them an interesting question. This could be related to what it is, like when I did that sourdough giveaway. With that book giveaway. What's your favorite book? People are already stoked. It's a book giveaway. What's your favorite book? People love to share their favorite book. I love to share my favorite book. People want to comment. So it's asking them an interesting question. And then other people who are looking at this giveaway are seeing all these comments and be like, oh, that sounds like an interesting book. Oh, I'll have to look up that book. The content is evergreen. Even without the giveaway, it's an interesting post. And then don't demand a lot. Don't ask them to stand on their head and cross their fingers and jump 3 times. They're not going to want to do it. If someone has to follow a bunch of people or do a bunch of things, they're often just not going to. So like I do the giveaways, like all you have to do is comment to be entered. If you want to follow this person too, they're pretty neat. You should follow them. If you want to tag some friends, it'll get you more entries. It's not required, but it'd be sweet. I'll post the stories, extra entries. So like do it as bonuses, don't do it as required. And then it just reframes things. People want to do it. People want the bonuses, but it's not required to enter the giveaway. Slide decks. Do we know what a slide deck is? Slide deck is the post that's got the slidey things that you like the cheese, the cork, the soft cream cheese, carousel. There we go. How do you keep track of entries? How do you actually people give a bonus entry if they share? So I don't tend to do bonus entries to stories because those are really hard to track. What I do is tag people, or if I have done it where I'm like, if you share to stories, you need to come back and comment that you shared to stories, because then there's an extra entry for that person because every comment is an entry. So if you're going to require something like that, just ask them to come back and comment. And then I'm going to give away my super top secret giveaway picking secret. I never promise that it will be chosen by random generator or anything. I simply say a winner will be chosen. And then when it's time to choose a winner, I load all the comments and then I go, okay, kids, tell me when to stop. And I start scrolling. And when they say stop, I plunk my finger down and there's the winner. It is randomly chosen. I made sure to load all the comments. They don't know when to say stop. They're saying randomly. So it is randomly, but I'm not promising a random number generator because that's giving access to your account. And safety wise, having apps like third-party apps access to your account is not cool. Or then like Robin did it. Okay, you know what? I have a space heater on at my feet. Oh, that's why I'm so warm. Okay. Oh, Robin was like, there was 800 entries. So I said, pick a number between 1 and 800, and it was 534. And I had to count down to 534. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous, girl. Why'd you do that? That's ridiculous. You can randomly choose a giveaway winner without doing it. And if you don't promise to choose random number giveaway, it's still fair. I'm not playing favorites. I'm randomly choosing someone. I'm just not being super technical about it because in the end, does it really matter? I didn't realize how loud that fan was. Does it feel quieter for you guys? Like, I feel like my ears are. Okay. Now we're going to go on to slide decks. Slide decks or carousels. These get shared more. People love to save these too. And when people save things, it reaches more people. These are a great way to share more in-depth info in bite-sized pieces as well. It's a great way to share a recipe or a tutorial or a method in a more approachable way that people can see 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. I use Canva, and in Canva, you can choose like an Instagram post. They have all sorts of templates. You make it your own. And then there's a handy dandy button where you can duplicate it. So then you duplicate it and whoop, another one pops down below. And then all you do is change the text so that then it's your second one, and then duplicate it and whoop, there's another one, and you change the text, da, da, da. So it's the same without having to redo all the same things every time. And then because I have my style that I like, which you guys have probably noticed, you can take an existing one, like once you have one that you did, so then I just would take that cream cheese post and open it, and I would just duplicate it, and I would just work from there. And then I just change the background photo, and I already have the other styles that I like, and it just really cuts down the time. And I technically don't do it anymore. Dee does that for me, but point being, it saves you time. You just reminded me you do a really good job about talking with everyone when no one is there in stories. I don't quite understand the question or that comment. You might need to reword that. What's our last one? Oh, here's our last slide. Remember, being authentic and you is most important overall, because if you're pretending to be someone else, one day you will get tired of pretending, or like you can't fake it. You have to just be you, and you have to just figure out what you want to share and what works for your family. And you have to be authentic. Do you find it worthwhile to pay for Canva or just use the free version? I have paid Canva because we use Canva a lot, and then I get more things that I like on it. But I did used to just use free Canva. But now I have like a couple team members who use Canva as well. So it works well because then like we can all use the same, like they can use it as a team, so we can find each other's things, and I can easily just like go there, edit it, whatever, without being like, oh, I sent you this link and now I sent you this link. It's just all in one account. So it saves us time there. It's hard talking to a camera. It is, and takes time. But like there's people who do really well without ever talking to a camera. Look at Jessica Three Rivers. You almost never see her talking to a camera. She does for YouTube videos a bit, but you never see her on Instagram talking to the camera. And she does really well without ever having to talk to the camera. So you don't have to. It is important to show your face so people know who you are. It creates that connection. People want connection. And that's part of what makes you stand apart from other people, is the connection that you have. Yes, the know, like, and trust factor. That's it. So I'm going to look and see if I missed any questions, but you guys can also just, I guess if I was really fancy, I would have another slide that was like, no, you can ask your questions. I'll keep that in mind for next time. Oh, someone just joined. I think they got the time wrong. Okay. If you have questions, you can answer them. You can ask them, sorry, but I'm going to see if I missed what I can. Oh, there's a lot. How often do you try and post for stories, feed, and reels? How much is too little? I try to post a few reels a week, ideally a reel a day, but I only post 5, maybe 6 days a week anyways. I taking that time off, even if it hurts my algorithm, is worth it. I don't need to show up 7 days a week. Although my mom does post a couple of things on one of those days, so technically it's only 1 day a week. Stories, I'd say you need to at least post 4, 6, 8 stories a day. Like you need to just show up like for a minute or two. You know, you just gotta show up. And it probably would be better to show up in little chunks versus like one really long one. Show up in like a few little chunks throughout the day. And I don't get hung up in timing. Like people are like, don't post after dinner or whatever, because then you're not going to get as many views. I often post when I'm like laying in bed waiting for Mary's to be done in the washroom before I turn off my phone and go to bed. I'll be like, oh, I meant to post that photo. Here, I'll post that photo and make a post right now. It's when I can post. It's when it is. Right now, my niche is food, even though I eventually want to sell children's books. Oh, she asked another question. April did about. Yeah, so Michelle said they have their close friends feature for showing their kids, and then publicly they only show that. Okay, what about this niche? April asked. Homemaking, motherhood, little homesteading. That's still a red ocean. That's not a blue ocean, I don't think. Like April's wanting to sell her children's books and non-children's books. I think your niche would need to be something to do with like a mom who writes. Okay, I'll just go down to the bottom, see whether. When you're not at a point where you can delegate or get a VA, how do you decide what to focus your energy on? What's going to make you money? And how, like, so if your goal is making money, which if you're here, your goal is making money. So if you know that, like for me, like making a YouTube video, that's something that I prioritize because it makes me money. Connecting with people in my inbox, connection makes me money because people like that connection. This feels like very crass to talk about it in this way, but I'm trying to just like break it down. Like, does scrolling and looking at other people's Instagram make me money? Not really. You have to look at like what is actually working towards making you money and what is just fluff. We had discussed income streams previously. What various income streams do you have besides YouTube, cookbooks, memberships? Affiliates. Those are it. YouTube, cookbooks, membership, affiliates. Those are my income streams. I mean, technically we have a farm income stream, but I don't think it actually makes us any money. Once you pay for all the feed, there's not really anything left. Do you feel like you need content pillars and a big plan, or do you just go for it naturally? I just wing it. If I make a plan, I won't follow it. Sometimes I'll like do some brainstorming to like get a general idea and where I want to go, but I do not make content plans. How long did it take you to decide you wanted to do this for real? I go back and forth. I love teaching cooking from scratch, but I also get really tired of Instagram and lose my desire and don't want to do it. Why are you doing it? If you have a strong enough drive on why you want to do it, you will do it. If you don't have a personal mission statement and a goal on why you're going to do this, you're going to fail. You got to have a goal and you have to like look at that goal. No. Can you hear Marius yelling at the kids? I heard kids running around, and then I heard Mary's, "Hey, stop!" And I was like, wonder if they can hear that. Your goal is not just like, your goal has to be like a goal. And it doesn't have to be like a super specific on a time and amount of dollars. I think of a goal more as like, this is the direction I'm heading. I want to boldly go this direction because this is where I'm going. I don't set timelines and I don't set long-term money goals. I set like directions. This is where I'm wanting to go. And that's what I'm working on. What is the line between answering questions from someone who buys things from you versus someone who has never? And do you know which followers actually buy things from you? I know which followers are insiders because you're all flagged so that I can prioritize answering your questions. Or like if you ask a question that I might normally be like, well, they can Google that. I might be like, Jill Winger has a good recipe. You should look up hers. Like I try to throw you guys a bone wherever possible. If it's a question that it's like, what's the difference between mesophilic and thermophilic culture? Okay, well, they can Google that. What time do you get up in the morning? I get up at 6-ish. That's an easy question to answer. The questions that are like, so I'm thinking about getting my first cow and I'm not really sure what to look for or what I should ask. Where should I look for? What should I ask? Who, what do I want in a first milk cow? What do I do when they calve? That's when I'm like, walk away. Walk away, walk away. This person wants an essay. They're asking a lot of me. I don't have the bandwidth to answer a question like that. I'm actually trying to convince Naomi to do like a course on buying your first cow because every day I get questioned about buying cows. And I'm like, you need to do a course on this because I can't do this. If someone is asking a lot of you, they're not respecting your time. They're not respecting your time. You don't owe everyone an answer. You can do your best to interact and put things out there. If someone asks a long question like that, I just don't answer because I just don't even have the bandwidth to get started. If you feel like you have to answer, you could be like, hey, this is a really in-depth question. I've seen Naomi talk about this. You should go check her out. Or like, this is a good book that people like. But keep in mind, you don't owe people an explanation for everything. Can you share more about your process of defining your niche, moving from a red ocean to a blue ocean? What would you, within your niche, what would you happily teach someone for free about sewing, for example? What about sewing lights you on fire? What can you just talk about forever to do with sewing? What's your favorite thing to sew? What do you love about sewing? That's your niche in sewing. What would you help someone for free happily with in that red ocean? That's probably going to be your blue ocean. What number of followers did you have before you opened a membership on your site? I think I was close to 10,000 followers when I opened a membership. And I had help setting it up because I didn't really know how to do it. So I had a VA who knew how to set up a membership. How do you pay a VA? Hourly, price per project? How do you figure out the rate? I have Helen, and she charges hourly for some things, and then some things are per project. So like for blog posts, it's per project, because then she goes back and edits links or whatever, just like as part of that initial thing. Whereas like she just changed her rates and I honestly can't remember, but she now no longer charges hourly and there's now stuff per project. And I was like, I love you. It's fine. Just keep billing me and I'll keep paying you as long as you don't charge $1,000 an hour. I did just talk to a friend who pays a VA a monthly chunk. She has a big company and she pays $700 a month and they do like all her emails and everything. And because emails is so like here and there and everything, but this person's like on it with the emails so that there's like fast customer service. So it's like a chunk, not an hourly rate, because that would be a hard thing to track an hourly rate on. I honestly can't even remember what I pay Helen now because she just raised it. It's probably in the area of 25 an hour. I can't remember. For specialized things, you're often paying more an hour. There's people who charge less an hour. I don't know. I wouldn't complain if someone did my emails. My inbox is a mini disaster. Yeah. Do you have a CPA? Yes, we have an accountant. Venison for Dinner is a corporation. So we do like, we have corporate taxes. We like Marius and I are salaried employees. So we have employment insurance. We have all these things because the corporation pays deductions, we have a pension, like all the things through that. Like it's not very big pension, but there is one. Because there hits a certain point, like if I was self-employed, anything I make would be considered personal self-employment income, and then Marius would have no income, which is fine, but then I have a big income and he has a no income, and our tax rate is this big. By having a corporation, we get paid split between two of us, so we both have medium-sized incomes, or small, I don't know what you'd consider our incomes, but we both have like this income. So then our tax brackets down here, because tax brackets in Canada are personal, not for the couple or the household. So by us both getting paid, our income split between two of us and our tax bracket is lower. And then there's like different tax benefits that we get because we have a lower tax bracket. Did you make yourself a corporation when you decided to make this in business in anticipation of making money, or did you wait until you made money? So when we hit the point where Venison for Dinner was going to gross, like, I'd never shared numbers before, but keep in mind, this isn't what Marius and I make. We do pay a lot of expenses out of this. When Venison for Dinner was on track to gross $100,000, our accountant was like, you need to incorporate because you're going to get slammed with taxes, because corporate tax rate is a lot lower. So instead of me getting all the money and then me paying Helen, and then that being a write-off, which just like, you know, is a kind of a tax benefit, but not really. It all comes into the corporation, and the corporation pays Helen. The corporation pays Marius and I. The corporation pays my mom. And then the money that's in the corporation that doesn't get used to pay us has a much lower tax bracket, because corporate tax rate is like half that of personal tax rate in Canada. So it's all about like the tax stuff. Yes, in the States it's called an S Corp. So in Canada, like being incorporated as a corporation, we do have to have an accountant. It was done by a lawyer. Like it wasn't a free process, but it is to our tax benefit that we did this. Venison for Dinner. So the government wouldn't let us be called Venison for Dinner. We are technically Sweetheart Homestead, which is why, like, whenever you like see something to do with PayPal, it's Sweetheart Homestead, because I don't know, they don't like Venison for Dinner or something. We're Sweetheart Homestead Incorporated. So it's not an LLC. I can't remember what it's technically called. Yeah, but in the States it's called an S Corp. And so it does help us write off a lot of stuff. There is a lot of things that, like, before I could have wrote off more against my income, but I can't count them as a corporate expense. Like we got our furnace cleaned and the ducting and everything, and it was $700. And my mother-in-law's like, can your company pay for that? I'm like, no, because this is my office. the whole house is not my office. So only I could have written off like 10% of it, but it would be super complicated and not worth writing off $70. So I'm definitely going to ask Helen to do this into like a transcript, like a thingamadoober, so that this is easier to look over again. Isn't it 18% if your office is in home? No, it's complicated. It's my accountant figures it out. If you do too much of a percentage, it gives you it flags you, so to speak, that they're like, why do they use so much of their home as an office? We should look into this. And we don't want the government looking into things. So we err on the lower side. Like, it's not that we're doing illegal things. It's just once you are flagged with the government, they'll forever be checking up on you and being like, we need more paperwork on this and we need more paperwork on this. And I don't want to have to give them more paperwork than I already have to deal with them. So we try to just be conservative with what we claim and what we write off so that it just plays within normal realms. I do all my bookkeeping, but about 5 years ago, I decided to hire a CPA to file my personal business taxes, and the best decision I ever made. Yeah, having an accountant is amazing. Oh yeah, so Tanessa gets audited almost annually because she had an overzealous accountant. And so yeah, my accountant is like, we don't want you to get audited. When I was like, I use the Suburban for farm stuff, I pick up stuff. And she's like, we're not writing off your Suburban because you already write off the truck. And they'll be like, you don't make enough to write off 2 vehicles. So you can only write off 1 because we want to be conservative in how we write things off. So having a conservative accountant is good. Okay, guys, ask your last questions before I need to go. Oh, I don't have to milk right now. I'm still in the mindset that I milk at this time of day. And I'll be like, I gotta go milk. And then it's like, wait, no, I don't. No, I don't. That's not till later. But ask your questions. But yes, dealing with business and tax stuff is one of the most overwhelming parts, for sure. It's after 11 p.m. there. Wow, crazy. What would you do differently if starting over again on Instagram or online? That's hard. Right now, I'm having to explain some things. So you'll be getting emails within the next couple of days. Some of you will have already got emails that we're transitioning over to Kajabi, where the new website platform is. You may have got multiple emails with me because I messed up some of the emails. I did things in ways that were more convoluted than they needed to be. And now I'm having to explain them to someone else in order for them to do it. And they're like, this is confusing. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So like, think about your processes on if you were going to be doing these for someone else, like creating a standard operating process. Yes, I know it's SOP, but I can't remember if it's process or procedure. So think about these sort of things. So like my friend Erin, who's now doing the Instagram messages for me, she was like, you're going to give me some like procedures and such. And I'm like, yeah. And so I actually wrote them up in a note. So I have them saved. And then I just copied and pasted it over to her. Instead of just texting it to her, I have it saved now. So if it doesn't work for her to do it and I have someone else to do it, I can just send that to someone else and I have it figured out. So like I send emails to my mom too. Instead of just like explaining something, I'll send an email that's like, and then you click on MailerLite and then you click subscribers and then you click this, like write out the process. So then if you need to get someone else to do it, it makes it easier. Are you happy with Kajabi? At what point did you need to change over to that platform? And what would it be better to start with that? Kajabi is expensive. Don't go to Kajabi unless you're making a lot of money or you have a lot of money to invest. It's like It's a lot of money, like a couple $100 a month or something. I don't know. It's a lot of money. I already owned the blog, and Paid Membership Pro was the plugin I was using, and it's free. There is a paid version, but it's not worth it. So I didn't have to pay anything to get that thing rolling. Is it now a bit of a pain transitioning over to Kajabi? Yeah, but that would have been a lot of money up front when I didn't know how something was going to work out. I use WordPress self-hosted with Namecheap is the hosting, but like WordPress is the like software. And then it was Paid Membership Pro. What percentage of your income for Venison for Dinner is insiders? That's hard because I don't know. Insiders is like monthly, and then they'll be like, boom, ebook, boom, affiliate. So it's like, I'll ask my mom. We just did our year end. She's just working on it to submit to the accountant for our first full year in business. And we did like set up things like that. So like with like the pottery collaboration, all the pottery things, they're all in the same category. So we can look like, oh, we spent this much on like product development and giveaways, and this is how much we made, so that we can do that sort of thing. I missed a question up here. I don't think I got an email since the app ready. I'm just sending it out, okay, because like there's people that sign up at different times and they're at different payment levels. It's like, oh, so confusing. And so I have to send out like this link to this group and this link to that group. And I started doing it and I messed up one already. And then I was like, yeah, we need to do this on a fresh brain. This isn't working. Jennifer, I feel like my niche is too small. I'm in an urban homesteader. I live on half an acre in my small city. Do I just go with it and see what happens? So urban homesteader is a red ocean. What makes you in a blue ocean? Are you an urban homesteader who specializes in pressure canning? Are you an urban homesteader who has bees on her roof? Are you an urban homesteader who loves seed saving? What makes you in your blue ocean? How do you grow your email list? This is where you have like a recipe that goes out on your email list. Like I did Marius's ramen recipe. If you want this recipe, sign up on the newsletter list and then it'll be sent to you. I just did it on Naomi's email list recently to get the Jersey gestation calendar. If you want this, here, pop in your email and I'll send it to you, and that person's now on your email list. Having a little, having something that people want, whether it's a PDF or a recipe or whatever. Newsletter Ninja is a great book for growing a newsletter. There you go. I have not read any business books. I'm mostly winging it. How did you grow it with a small audience when you were first giving away a lot for free? So like right now, something that I should probably put on the newsletter list to get people to sign up to the newsletter would be like the potato bread. So it's something that you guys have seen me working on and whatever, and I don't quite have the recipe ready yet, and people are like really wanting it. Whether it's like a sewing pattern, like, something like that people are really wanting, put it on your newsletter list. It's going out on my next newsletter. If you want to hear the story about how this happened, make sure you're on the newsletter list because it's going out on Friday's newsletter, like this sort of thing that you have to pimp yourself. Probably not an appropriate thing to say, but there you go. I had to Google earlier, is Sam Hill, like, like what in the Sam Hill's going on here? I had to Google, like, is this derogatory or offensive? Because I was like, what if I put it in my newsletter and then I accidentally like really insult people? Apparently it's just an old grandma saying. Was Marius ever a naysayer? I'm making money from this. Absolutely. 100% had no faith that I would make money on this. He did not understand the digital world and how it would translate into real dollars. He didn't get it. Even now, he actually guessed how much I would make on Anywhere You Go, like almost to a T. when I was like, how much are we going to make on this? And he guessed, and I was like, that's too much. And then we did make that. And he was like, I'm starting to get a handle on this wild digital world and your capabilities. And it's one of the things that I watched in a webinar recently with Tana Sue Fit. I don't know if you guys follow her, but she says, lead with impact. Lead with what impact do you want to have on someone's life? That should be your leading goal. Not a goal with like, I want to make $10,000. I want to make pressure canning accessible so that people aren't scared with pressure canning. And you're passionate about that pressure canning, and you're passionate about people being accessible and people doing it regularly, and it not just being a summer garden harvest thing. Like, you're passionate about it, and the money will follow. Like, obviously you're charging for something there, and like the money will follow. But if you're leading with this like excitement and passion, then the money does follow. Well, Allison says she feels like you need to hold her hand and walk through this. Offer consulting without the BS. Did Marius being a naysayer ever get you down? There was some things that I was pushing on that I wanted to make work that were not things that were working for our family. So he did shut down some things at points where he was like, you're spending too much time on this. This is taking away from things that we need to be doing. This is taking away from like us spending time together in the evening or whatever. This is not serving our family. This is not your season for doing this. So there was a couple things that like, sometimes that felt harsh, but I have learned to really trust Marius's discernment, because pretty much always if he's like, you shouldn't be doing that, and I'm like, I'm going to do it anyways, it always bites me in the butt. So he's really smart and he's really good at like looking at things. So with the YouTube thing, he didn't like to be filmed, but like every Sunday afternoon, he would take the kids out, like when he worked full time, and I could work, and I would work in the afternoon, like every Sunday afternoon, he would take the kids out, or he'd take them grouse hunting on a Saturday morning, whatever. So like he was always taking the kids to give me opportunities to work on things. So once I got into like the YouTube and that sort of thing, and I was like, had a goal and I was serious and I was still getting all my other stuff done. I wasn't, neglecting other things. I was like getting up early to do it. Or some evenings I'd be like, hey, we're not hanging out tonight, I'm working. And he'd be like, that's cool, I'm going to go hunting. So that was fine. But it was probably once Rowan was born that I like had a specific goal and I had a plan that he really became more supportive. Not that he was not supportive before, he just didn't realize the potential, I guess. It is still snowing sideways, guys. It has been snowing sideways since like 10 o'clock this morning. Did you have to take it seriously before he took it seriously? Yes, absolutely. Like he wasn't someone who got up stupid early in the morning. Like he had to leave for work at like 6:15, 6:20. So I guess that is early. But he like rolled out of bed, got coffee, started the car, went to the washroom, left. Like there was no morning routine beyond just like, what does he need to do to get out the door? And he would get up in the morning and he would see me working at the computer, editing YouTube videos, like that sort of stuff. So like he saw that I was taking it seriously and working on it. And like when I made the first like $50, I was so excited. Or then when I made like $500, and then he started to see that like it was actually making money. And at that point, it definitely wasn't like making money in relation to the time I was spending on it, but he could tell that I was taking it seriously too. I think this is where I struggle the most to do all the things. I'm farming full time, and my, what's OH stand for? Some to do with a spouse. Other half, maybe. It's working 70-hour week, mom to 11-year-old, keeping house, etc. Not really enough hours in the day. That's hard. It is hard because like Marius was gone 60 hours a week. And like, I still had to homeschool and milk the cow and do all the things and weed the garden and all the things and all the things. And I was really freaking determined. I was really freaking determined. How did you learn to edit videos? YouTube. I just Google it. How do I do this? We are due to start lambing 350 sheep in the next month. Wow. It's a lot of sheep. Could do something to do with that. People love those things. How many years before you made money? So if you start that account, if you count that I started it in 2010 and I didn't seriously make money till 2020, I started it 10 years ago. I started taking it seriously in 2019. So it was like 18 months from when I started taking it seriously, but I already did have like a base. I already had a blog that had recipes. I already had a bit of a YouTube following, like decent, but not massive. So, Kim says she's kind of lucky her husband works nights on the highways. I don't know if that feels lucky to me. How does he sleep then? When does he sleep? That would be hard. Did anything happen to make you feel like you got a big break, like someone shared you, or did you just grow slowly? My Instagram following just slowly grew. It just slowly grew and slowly grew. And there was nothing in my Instagram following that all of a sudden, like, bam, I have 10,000 more followers. Like, it was just slow and steady. And then once you have more followers, then it starts growing faster. Income-wise, starting my membership is what? Can you hear them playing the piano downstairs? Income-wise, starting my membership was big break. I did not expect there to be that many people signing up to start, and that was pretty amazing. And if you've been here since then, you know that my first membership launch week, the first day, I ended up in the hospital with Hamish, and we ended up medevaced to a children's hospital, and I spent almost the whole launch week in a hospital room with Hamish with no computer because I didn't have a laptop. So I only had my phone, and that was pretty crazy and pretty intense. But in that first, so I guess I had launched it to my newsletter list only like a day or two before, and then I opened it publicly, and it was the day I opened publicly, June 1st, that I took Hamish to the doctor, and we got home and they were like, and now you need to come back for a CT scan and pack your bags, you're going to Vancouver. But in that first couple of days, like that pre-launch where I opened only like my newsletter list, we had made enough at that point that when Marius texted his boss that like, I can't come to work tomorrow and I might not be able to come to work for months, because they were like, does Hamish have cancer? Does Hamish have meningitis? Like, why does he have something on the back, in the back of his brain? Why is he going blind and can't see? We had never had a time where we could just be like, Marius can't work, and then him just not work. Like, he worked through having a broken hand twice, because if he didn't work, we didn't have money to pay bills. Like, there was no option to not work. So that few days when we made that like first couple $1,000s, that gave us like such an immense amount of freedom for him to have the freedom to text his boss and be like, I'm not coming back to work this week. I don't know when I'll be back to work. And it ended up that he was only off work for about a week, but it was like, we'd never had even that freedom, that was just the most God-given timing. One of, not the only amazing God-given timing, but like one of a pinnacle point in our life that we had the freedom to be like, he's not going to work this week. I'm thinking I might have to do a class somehow. How do you make classes? Classes are something I haven't really learned how to do yet. I'm thinking on it. So I don't have the, yeah, I couldn't tell you. How many VIP insiders do you have? I think there is 1,000. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Paid membership pro is really funny with like member numbers, and sometimes you look one place and it tells you one number, and you look one place and it tells you another number. So I don't know the exact number. Kids playing the piano. So yeah, it took off in a way I never expected, and it's been really freaking amazing and expanded and allowed us to, you know, in turn support other parts of our family and all sorts of things. The VIPs, we do twice a month Zoom calls. I just started doing these slide things. These are new in the last month. The next one for VIPs is about garden planning. The last one for VIPs was about holiday stress and handling anxiety. We've done, Naomi's come on before, and we've done cheese making without the cow, we called it, with cheese making with store-bought milk. We've done ones about bulk buying and prepping things that I don't like to talk about on the internet because people are sometimes kind of weird with prepping. So I didn't talk about that publicly, but we talked about it on Zoom call. Sometimes they're to do with what our topic is that month. Sometimes it's just something like this that like people keep asking about. So I decided we were gonna talk about it. And like with the garden planning one next week, now Marius is trying to get Freya to stop playing the piano so obnoxiously. Yeah, they're fun. I enjoy them. And I always learn something too. And I'm really enjoying these slide deck things. They're adding a fun element and helping me to grow in doing better Zoom calls to serve you guys better. And we have all the recordings and such. And the next sign up won't be until I get everybody settled over on Kajabi or Kajabi. I don't know what you call it. So it's going to be into February because I'm giving it like a good 2 weeks before then we have to do some more things. And yeah, I'm not quite sure, but it's going to be in February. One time I was talking on the phone with a friend and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking of moving to Kajabi. And Hamish is like, we're moving to Kajabi. It's like, no. It's a website thing. We're not moving. It's just a website thing. Anyhow, we should probably wrap this up. This has been a longer than average one. Normally we're like 45 minutes maybe. So this is fun. And yes, almost all the Zoom calls are available to rewatch. There is the odd one that I forgot to record, but usually they're all available. So yes, just like the blog post, they're all there when you sign up. I really enjoyed talking with you guys. I love hearing about what you want to do. I love talking business. So when you start like talking things and then it just gets me energized. Obviously, I just talked for like an hour and a half straight. So you got me jazzed. Okay. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you guys later. Have a good evening. I hope you got something out of this. How do I end this? I still haven't set that thing up. Oh, there we go. Wow, I am technically challenged today. Okay, now we're ending this. Have a good day.